Stafford Rangers received a big boost last month with the news that a new director had agreed to put his faith in the club and play his part as we drive towards the major goal of promotion back to the evo-stik Premier Division this season. Successful Cannock-based businessman Gary Cater, who just happens to be the father of Rangers' young talented player George, has joined the borough ranks, an appointment that has been very much welcomed by club chairman John Bromley. Today we bring you Gary's first interview in which he talks about his decision to join Stafford Rangers. Welcome, Gary, and can I first of all ask you why you chose to become a director of Stafford Rangers, and is the club name one you have known for some time?
Well, I think you only have to look around the ground to see that it's a massive club, massive potential. Obviously it's a name that I've known. I have to be honest, I've not seen many games in recent years, but my next door neighbour is Stan Collymore, and I think Stan was a legend up here, so he always talks highly of Stafford Rangers, and that was part of the reason that I saw the potential and what we could do at the club. Why did I become a director? I retired a few years ago. With George coming out of West Bromwich Albion, I decided to go with him to Kidderminster. I was invited by Kidderminster to go on the board there. Great experience, National League, big crowds, 2,000 and 3,000 crowds, but really got a feeling to what goes on in non-league football, what goes on behind the scenes, and what's involved in driving a club forward and playing at that sort of level. Unfortunately, due to circumstances at Kidderminster, I decided to leave. The financial situation, as everybody knows, wasn't great down there. But when George came along to Stafford, I sat here in a few games, looked around, saw the crowd, met the people, and thought, what a great club and a great opportunity for me to get involved. Hence, I sat down and talked to the other directors and was very happy to come on board and assist.
As a director of Stafford Rangers, will you have certain responsibilities to carry out, and what qualities do you believe you can bring to a club such as Rangers, firstly in the short term, then in the long term?
Yeah, well, I've obviously got a business background. I spent 30 years in logistics, going from operations straight the way up to owning the company. So I've got experience of running businesses much bigger than the football club, which gives me a good background as to what we can do commercially, what we can do off the field, what we can do on sales, how we can organise ourselves. Obviously the football club has got a lot of good people working here, but everybody's a volunteer. I've got a bit more time. I can spend 2 or 3 days a week down here, and obviously I can bring my business expertise in the first instance into the club, and see how we can start to be more efficient and take the club forward and make us stronger both on the pitch, working with Kitch, but also off the pitch, working with the supporters and local businesses and developing the commercial side. Long term, I think we have to see where we can take it over the next 12 months. If we can get promoted this season, which is the aim, and we can consolidate in the league next season and continue to grow and get bigger and stronger, then I would hope this club is a National League club, within the next 3 to 5 years. That's got to be our aim. We need to be there, but to do that, you need the right structure behind you. You can't rely, as Kidderminster know, you can't rely on gate receipts. You have to rely on your commercial activities. So there's a lot of hard work that needs to be done by the club, but also by the supporters, the support of all the supporters, the local businesses around Staffordshire. And if we can get that right, then the sky's the limit for the football club.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. As a successful businessman in your own right, you'll no doubt be aware that clubs up and down the country, as you've said, are always chasing much needed financial support. And in that respect, Stafford Rangers are no exception. Yeah. Therefore, Gary, what sort of ideas would you hope to introduce to boost income at Stafford Rangers?
Well, the biggest thing for me is that we need to get the supporters more actively involved. We've got great facilities over there. At the start of the season, we weren't using the chairman's suite as much as we could have been doing. against Shore Lane last Saturday, we had 80 odd people in that suite, which was fantastic. You know, we got people spending money commercially, people spending money behind the bar. And I think I'm right in saying that the receipts that we got last weekend was probably the best receipts that we've had since Christmas, and probably even beat Christmas. Now that has to be our aim week in, week out, not Christmas, not when we play in the top of the league clubs. It has to be our aim week in, week out, that we're filling this club commercially and getting more people on board and getting people in and spending money within the football club. Sorry. The other big thing that we're working on at the moment is we'd like to develop a lottery. Our feeling is that if we can get the supporters on board, we can get local businesses on board, the directors and everybody around the club, that we can develop a lottery that could potentially develop £30,000 to £40,000 a year in funds for the football club, and that's needed. You know, if we're going to go up a division, we've got to have better facilities. We've got a shed end there that people are desperate to develop and get a roof on. We need segregation if we're going to get bigger away support. We need better toilet blocks. We need better catering facilities. So there's lots of things that need to be spent. We need to improve the car park, and all of these aren't going to come out of the club funds as we stand today. So what we need to do is develop more of things, and something like a lottery, which has been very successful down at Kidderminster, could really help this football club to give it the funds to do all the work that needs doing without affecting the development of the team, which obviously needs to happen if we're going to move up into a bigger league.
What's your personal opinion of the fan base that follows Stafford Rangers? They often obviously track the team the length and breadth of the country, and how would you aim to boost attendances at Marston Road?
Well, I think already the success on the pitch has already boosted the attendances. I think when the first game I came to earlier on in the season, we were pushing 500 supporters. Last game we pushed 1,000 supporters. Can we get it up to 1,500 supporters in the future? A lot of the games we've played this season have not been contributed by away supporters. I sat down at Kidderminster first game of the season. There were 2,200 people in the ground from Grimsby. You know, that was without the 1,800 people that were there from Kidderminster. So, you know, if we can get in bigger leagues and we can get these 1,000 and 2,000 away fans coming down to us, then, you know, that's going to develop the gate capacity, it's going to develop our own interest, and it all comes from success. The more successful we are, the more we publicise to the local area, the more we get people on board. But one thing I am quite keen about is that we start developing the youth. We've got 19 youth teams out there who carry the badge of Stafford Rangers, but do they come? Do they come and watch the games? Do their parents come and watch the games? I think there's a lot of work that we need to do, discussing with all the local people, developing a database, developing a CRM system, so we can get the word out to all these people that see us, but only see us from outside the ground, reading in newspapers and listening to how the team's getting on. What we need to do now is get these young people and the families and the parents and get everybody in the ground, so we can really develop the capacities that we're getting.
Do you yourself come from a footballing background, Gary?
I used to play football. I was at West Bromwich Albion when I was younger, before I started my business life. Many years ago, I actually played a reserve team game with Cyril Regis and Laurie Cunningham, which is my claim to fame many years ago. But obviously with George was taken by Wolverhampton Wanderers at 8 years old. He spent 4 years at Wolves, and then he spent 5 years at West Bromwich Albion. So every training session, every match day I've been there. I've travelled the length and breadth of the country. I've been and watched him in Chelsea. I've been and sat in the fantastic Emirates Marina in Manchester City, 9,000 arena for just the academy teams, which was fantastic. And I've met a lot of good people along the line. You know, George's coach at West Bromwich Albion was Darren Moore. Darren Moore's a fantastic guy, fantastic ambassador of the game, and you know, he still keeps in contact. So I've really been involved in football in terms of watching and meeting people for the best part of the last 10 years through George's own football before he came to Stafford.
Finally, Gary, what would be your message to the supporters of Stafford Rangers as the club enters the final league run in to what we all hope will bring us promotion? Also, if you could realise a dream for Stafford Rangers, what would that be?
Well, I think my message is more of the same. You know, 1,000 gate last week, let's get another 1,000 gate this week. Let's keep supporting the club. it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of tough games, and there's going to be lots of twists and turns along the road. So let's keep supporting the team. Let's not get frustrated if we're losing, if we're not scoring lots of goals. The important thing now is keep grinding out the results. Let's get the 3 points. Let's get ourselves promoted. If we can do that, then we're at stage 1. Then we move to stage 2. Where can we take it in the next league? How can we develop it? How can we make ourselves bigger, stronger and better? And that has to come from all the activity and the involvement of everybody related to the club, and especially the supporters. You know, if we've got 1,000 supporters here that are all prepared to support the club, then that's a massive opportunity for us. You know, I look at the non-league gates. You know, I look at, for example, Hensford, 350 in a higher league than us. You know, okay, Telford push 1,000, but that's a higher league than us. The last game I saw with Kidderminster was down at Stourbridge. You know, they're pushing gates 500-600. They do get bigger gates when they got more local derbies. If we can get into the next league and we get the Halsowens and we get the Telfords and we get the Hensfords and the Stourbridges, fantastic opportunity. Local derbies, 1,000+ gates. You know, then that's going to be great for everybody in the club and great for the supporters to see. But we've got to make ourselves strong enough on the pitch to compete. The worst thing for this club is to get promoted and not continue to go forward. We've got to restructure, and then we've got to keep moving forward and be a bigger and a stronger club.
I know it's, as I said, I know it's early days for you, but do you have a dream for the club?
Yeah, I mean, my dream is to obviously see George here, successful on the pitch, scoring lots of goals for the football club, and to see the football club pushing and knocking on the Football League door. That has to be our dream. We have to have a target. It's a long way off at the moment, but I'm sure if we can get the structure right over the next few years, then the National League is a possibility. I saw a lot of games when I was down at Kidderminster and watched the likes of Altrincham and Bromley and people like that. Those clubs are not anywhere near as big as Stafford Rangers, but they're playing in the National League, and that has to be our initial aim. Let's get up this season, let's consolidate in the league next year, let's make ourselves bigger, stronger, and then let's push on to the next leagues and let's get the National League. And it would be fantastic if we could get an FA Cup run. I mean, I looked at some of the finances at Kidderminster. If we drew a Manchester United in the third round, you know, draws like that are worth £1 million to a football club. I think Cambridge a couple of years ago played Manchester United and actually netted £1 million from it. That's the two dreams. If we can get a fantastic cup run, get that sort of money to reinvest into the football club and continue to drive it forward, that's where my dream, I think, would be.
That's excellent. Thank you, Gary, for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.